This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. It is Wednesday, May 7th. We were taping a podcast with Lake Bell. We ran into Michael Rapaport in the elevator, and he demanded to come on and talk about the Knicks situation. We brought him in the studio. He stayed for 30 minutes, and he was fired up. And there are a lot of obscenities in this podcast because he's a very frustrated Knicks fan. So I'm warning you now, if you don't like obscenities, stop watching, stop listening. If you don't mind obscenities, I would keep listening because Michael Rapaport is really entertaining. Here we go. Happened to be in the building. We ran into each other in the elevator. The Knicks future's at stake. Just grabbed them.
Yes.
Came in here, but we were talking about Fast Break, the poster.
Yes.
Trying to talk about the best basketball performances in a movie.
Bernard King, sick.
You and I both think Bernard King of Fast Break is number one. As Hustler, we should mention.
Yes, as Hustler. Some great footage in that. He was young. He was in his prime.
Had the two-hand slam, like really at his apex, the spin move two-hand.
Yeah, I mean, it was good vintage stuff. It's either that or the montage of Dr. J dunking
in Fish That Say Pittsburgh.
In shoes and a suit. And he looks good.
Good point. Degree of difficulty. There's some good blue chip scenes.
Yeah, but that's kind of cheating.
But you're right. I guess they're not playing characters, really.
They're not playing characters. I mean, it's like
Ray Allen versus Denzel, and He Got Game was really good.
Yeah, that goes up there, too. And Denzel, he did a good – he was very defensive. I mean, he was physical. But Ray looked – I mean, he's in his prime. I mean, one of the smoothest, prettiest games, Ray Allen.
There's a famous story about that game, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it's true, that they decided to ad-lib the game. And Denzel came out and scored like 4 of the first 5 and was talking shit to Ray Allen.
I'm sure
Ray Allen
he
got
was.
Mad.
I'm sure he was. But
I don't think it was in the script. I think he actually, they told Ray Allen to try, and I think he was supposed to win 10-0. And Denzel actually sneak attacked him and scored like 4 hoops on him.
I don't think Ray Allen ever got nervous that he was going to lose the game.
No, but I think at some point it gets real.
Oh, it gets real.
I think Ray Allen's like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to I'm in the NBA. This freaking Denzel Washington's housing me in front of the crew right now.
Yeah, I'm going to shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, and then he just goes nuts on him.
Crazy on him. But Denzel played, if it was improv, he was playing physical. But Ray Allen was just shooting. It was like a...
You never really made your official hoop movie.
I never made my official hoop movie. I auditioned. It was like one of my first auditions for White Man Can't Jump. But I
remember that.
And they were auditioning every actor in town. And I did well basketball-wise, but I just was...
They couldn't have snuck you into Eddie as like the reserve two-guard?
I could have done something in there.
It's like 3-point specialist?
Something. But my footage, it's in the memories of people that saw it. It hasn't been documented so much, but in my prime...
Celebrity game.
Yeah, the celebrity game. But that was past my prime.
You cheap-shot at Bieber?
Of course.
Yeah.
And now...
By the way, now he looks better.
Now he looks better, but at the time it was like Bieber. Now you'd want a cheap shot Bieber. I was ahead of the curve.
You were the first one. You were way ahead of the curve.
I was thinking ahead of everybody. And
you smelled something you didn't like.
I smelled something I didn't like, but he was fast, that little Bieber.
Yeah, you still got him.
Son of a Bieber.
You Rick Mahorned him.
Yes, I was going. I couldn't catch that little fucker. Can I say fucker on
yes.
Yes. Little Romeo.
Especially in his case, yes.
Yes, little Bieber. Bieber.
I missed you at the celeb game this year. I was coaching.
I know.
Somehow you decided to retire.
No, I'll be back. I'll be back. There were some political conundrums. My contract was in where's it? Is it next year in Toronto?
Next year is in a city you're a little familiar with.
Where?
New York City.
Oh, is it in New York?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if you want to play in Madison Square Garden.
Are you crazy?
Whatever.
I will be there. I will be getting my MVP. I don't care who's showing up. Drake, Bieber. I will be getting the MVP.
I'll go this far. I would consider some HGH, maybe a little Germany trip.
Absolutely. A little blood transfusion?
No, it's not like we're going to test for the game.
Yo, let's do it. I need to win the MVP.
I want your head to be 2 sizes bigger than
Don't
next
worry.
time I see you.
I'll have the Barry Bonds neck.
Big head.
And maybe I'll just dye myself like Sammy Sosa just to give him a shout out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'll just like bleach my skin.
Your back's covered in zits.
Yeah.
Your head's gigantic.
Yo, I'm coming in next year to win that MVP. In New York?
In New York.
Is it in the Garden or is it in Barclays?
I mean, knowing how this works, it'll probably be like the Felt Forum.
Right. All right, well,
but
I'm looking forward to
New York City, the Big Apple.
I thought it was
your dramatic comeback.
My dramatic comeback. I'll be pulling a Willis Reed.
I haven't decided if I'm going to coach again.
Please coach.
It was very unfair that Jalen got Arnie Duncan. who's like the most fun person to play basketball with ever of all time.
I'm shutting him down. If Barack wants to come, I'm getting the MVP in my city next year.
How great would that be if Barack played?
That'd be crazy. Monica Lewinsky.
Because it'd be like the last 2 years.
Let's get her back. She's making a comeback. Let's have her be a cheerleader or like a team,
She could probably set some picks.
She's
got some size on her.
Let's do it. I didn't realize it was in New York. For some reason, I thought it was in Toronto. My kids just make things up.
They're doing a New York Brooklyn combo. I think all the Saturday stuff's in Brooklyn, and then the game is in MSG on Sunday, which is a great idea.
The contest has nothing to do with the celebrity thing. I'll be for that. I'll helicopter back, and I'll be done.
Yeah, the big winners of the last celebrity game. The big loser, not his fault, was Michael B. Jordan, who I think is really good at basketball and just was on the wrong team. I want to see more from him next year. He knows.
And I don't like that the fans are voting for it.
No, for the MVP.
The MVP should go to the best player, who I will definitely be. Kevin Hart shutting your ass down. Although Kevin could play and he used to be better than he actually is now. Yeah. He ain't coming to New York doing all that craziness. Arnie Duncan, sorry. And if I win it, I'm not giving it to you if you score 96 points.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If you had been out there on my team and Arnie Duncan was heating up like that, you and I just would have had the look.
That's it.
Arnie would have gone flying. Ambier,
C-Sting.
Flying.
Yes.
Into the basket support.
Yo, we need to get our heads right for that.
The Secretary of Education is still in the hospital after a flagrant 2 by Michael Rapaport.
That's right. I don't care what the hell's going on. I have to win that MVP in New York next year. God damn it. I got to start working out now.
So you're finishing at 30 for 30 about the Knicks.
Finished at 30 for 30 about the New York.
Is it officially finished?
Officially finished. We just premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival when the Garden was.
But sometimes that doesn't mean it's not finished yet.
We're finished. I'm not going back into the hole. Making a doc is.
It's brutal. It's not fun, right? It's not. People think it's all fun and games.
Oh, it ain't fun and games. It's extremely hard. It's extremely gratifying. It's extremely challenging, and it's frightening. And my first doc was about A Tribe Called Quest, which is a group that's beloved. Yeah. And then I did and you feel the pressure because you don't want to. I could say fuck up. Yeah. You don't want to fuck up Tribe Called Quest movie. And then the Knicks team, you're like, okay, I'm doing that. And then you realize this means so much to so many people. So aside from the fact that you just don't want to make a shitty movie, you feel the pressure. Like, all of New York is going to be watching.
Well, and also with the documentary versus a scripted movie, you're never done with the documentary.
You're never
You
done.
can always be. It could always get 1% better. There could always be one more interview you got. There could be one more clip you didn't find.
Absolutely.
And it's just hanging over your head the whole time.
Absolutely. And so but we're
and you have the time limit, and it's like you have to tell the story in 2 hours.
It was. I feel good about it though. We
had that with Bad Boys.
That was great.
With 2 weeks to go with Bad Boys, that movie was 15 minutes longer than it ended up being, and it's like, and they liked everything in the movie, so it's like, all right, well now what do you cut? We
hard.
like everything. It's hard. It's hard to cut stuff that you like.
You got to kill the babies. You do. I can't remember what filmmaker who said it, but he said you have to hate the movie when you start editing it. You have to learn to hate it. Because you can't be, if you hold it too precious and too you're too in love with it, you won't cut it. If you think everything is so great, so you have to love it and then hate it. It's like being divorced.
I've given notes on so many of these at this point. I just caught that. Yeah, it was good.
I like that. I caught you a little zing.
Yeah, I did. Well, I was thinking about my next thing, and then I belatedly caught that. Yeah. It was a good one. But we've given really so many notes on, hey, we went to a dark place. That's all right. I've given notes on so many of these, though, and you do kind of get a general sense of, this is a little too fat. This drags here. Mm-hmm. Even if the cuts aren't obvious, at least and it gets your brain thinking, and you're like, well, what if this goes away? How would that affect the movie? Yeah. Well, could we could this be cut in half? Would it make the same point here? And I don't know, at some point you just kind of know. You know what I mean?
I think, as a director, you go through phases of, but you watch it so much, you lose perspective on things that are funny. You lose perspective on things that have emotion because you're just in there. And
you get attached to things that might not be best for the final cut, but you like them. And you don't want to lose them. Yeah. It's like, well, I love this scene. I don't want to lose that because if I lose that, I lose that moment when he does this.
Yeah, and it's like literally like making a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah. If you take one piece out, you have to shift it. And we interviewed Phil Jackson last summer before any of the Knicks return. And then... Right. And then while we were 2 months out before premiering Tribeca, Phil comes back. And I wanted to ignore it. Like, fuck it. We don't need to put that in the movie. That's not a factor. But then we were like, you got to put that in the movie. But once you put that in, you got to take something out. And it just changed the whole thing. So
it's running this fall. It's really about the 70 Knicks, but it's
the 70-73 Knicks.
Right, but it's the heart of it's 70, goes through 73, and it's really about the last great time to be a Knicks fan. Not that the Ewing era Knicks weren't great. Bernard wasn't great, but this was the last time they dominated, and they were really good, and they won 2 titles in 4 years.
And I call the Ewing era the abusive era, because that's when I started to stray. When Charles Smith started doing this, that's when my heart went away. That's when I as a Knicks fan, honestly, to be honest, I've never been the same. When they lost those years, I was just it killed me.
I have a friend who I'm not going to name.
Why not?
Who watched the Big East 30 for 30.
Yes.
And we talked after. We were talking about how great the Ewing footage was.
Yes.
And he goes, the fact that we didn't win an NBA title with Ewing is the greatest tragedy of my life. He's dead serious.
I agree. One thing
Isn't that a lot of tragedy, just to be fair.
Okay.
But he really he got him mad all over again. He's like, how did we not win one title with Patrick Ewing?
Painful.
We didn't win one?
An abusive relationship.
But you got Patrick Ewing at the wrong point. Like by the time he was...
What do you mean? By the time he was a rookie? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about 89-90 was his best year, but you didn't have the right team around him yet.
Right.
By the time you had the right team and the right coach around him, his knees were on the way out. Like it was a chore to go up and down the court. He wasn't the same Bill Russell type defensive player that he was. You know what I mean?
Listen, 89, 93, it's all a blur for me. I don't know the difference. It's a
blur of pain.
Blur of pain. One thing about the Big East film, which I loved, I thought there was going to be a little pullout on Michael Graham. What was his story?
My God!
Why didn't they go out on Michael?
I don't even know if he went to a class.
His character, like his story, I felt like what was his story? Like
that should be a short.
Where is Michael Graham?
That should be a short.
30 for 30 short.
I like that. Thank you.
Where is Michael Graham?
Send me the check.
Send me the check. Let's do that. Where is Michael Graham? But I love the Pearl stuff.
I think he graduated with a law degree.
Michael Graham?
Yeah, I think he's
somebody's lawyer?
I think he's a justice.
He was one of the first.
I'm making stuff up.
The Pearl stuff was great. One of my favorite players.
Pearl. What happened to the Pearl? He was so much fun in college.
So good. Never had to learn a jump shot.
Wouldn't you bet your life in college, though, that he was going to be a star?
Pearl was my favorite. Pearl doesn't get enough credit for – they did it a little bit in the film, but the crossover, the in and out move that everyone's taken to the next level.
He might have been the first.
He is the first, and then Tim Hardaway took it, and and then Nick Van Exel. The reason why Nick Van Exel wore number 31 because of Pearl. Those guys brought that, and now guys take it to the next level. But Pearl was the first one.
You and I are roughly the same age. We grew up watching Big East Mondays and all that stuff. Like I still can't believe Walter Berry wasn't a good pro either.
Me neither.
Walter Berry and Pearl Washington just were like. To me, in college, they were up there with Mullen and Ewing, everybody else. Like, it was just assumed that they were going to go to the pros and have awesome
Walter
careers.
Berry was a big shock that he wasn't a good pro because he was the low post
Such a nice game. Like
lefty.
All weird. He was like kind of very Cedric Maxwell-y, but lefty and
ran like
better.
this.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Great nickname. He was the original Truth.
The original Truth.
People forget. It was Walter the Truth Berry.
Yep, Walter the Truth Berry, and he had that clear-out move. He had everybody in New York City doing that clear-out move.
I remember when Shaq gave the nickname The Truth to Paul Pierce in, like, I'm going to say 2000 range. It wasn't
kind of like
wasn't totally okay with it.
Yeah, I hear you because I grew up loving Walter B.
I felt like not enough time had passed for me and Walter Berry.
I
had him more in the Walter Berry era enough.
That might be another short. What the hell ever happened to Walter Berry's NBA career? Nah.
There's a lot of guys from the 80s that don't make a lot of sense. My default answer for all of these guys is cocaine. Like, I just assume, like, until proven to me wrong,
right.
Like, with that era, I just feel like everybody was doing cocaine back then. And it's like, if there's anything I can't explain, I just,
coke.
Well, probably
he was on the coke.
Probably.
Why was Rapaport late for the podcast? He's on the coke. Michael Graham, Walter Berry. I mean, but I dig it. I dug the Big East.
I'm glad you liked it. Well, we're all looking forward to yours.
Okay.
Tribeca went well?
Tribeca went great. Cassie Russell came. Dr. Dick Barnett came. Phil Jackson came.
Phil Jackson came.
Pearl came. Clyde came. It was a really cool night, and they all stayed afterwards, and the fans loved it. And, we just worked so hard on the film, and it just it couldn't have went any better. So I'm looking forward to people seeing it. When the Garden was eaten on
this
ESPN
fall. It's like October.
Sometime before the NBA season starts next year.
So, all right, the real reason you came on.
Yes.
This is a crucial point in the Knicks franchise. You don't know if you're bringing back Carmelo. You don't have a coach.
Yes,
we don't have Phil Jackson. You have one of the worst owners in sports.
I didn't say it.
You have 17 chefs in the kitchen.
Who are the other 16?
You have Tyson Chandler expiring, Amari expiring, and Andrea Bargnani expiring.
Great.
You have Ray Felton's rotting corpse as your point guard.
Yes.
You have J.R. Smith, who's the most untrustworthy two-guard in the league.
Jesus Christ.
You will not have cap space for 12 more months. And now Steve Kerr is being asked to be the coach, and he's waffling. Waffling is not a fair word. I think he's just
on the fence.
I think he's thinking about it.
Thinking about what?
Well, I think he's probably trying to figure out what other jobs are going to open up. Like, for instance, yesterday Golden State opened up.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal.
So talk to Steve Kerr. This is your forum to tell Steve Kerr, to remind him what's at stake here, really.
All right, I'm going to break it down and help me because you know all the details.
I'll help you.
I don't know how you fit all this fucking information in your head, Bill. Like, the details are crazy.
I don't even know what's going on with my kids. Does that help? I don't know where they are right now.
Where are they? Figure it out for yourself.
Are you guys in school?
Do you know what school you like?
How
do I get to the school?
How do I can't drive the kids to school. I don't know what school they go to.
Uber yourself. Yeah, you're in second grade. Learn to do it yourself.
Is the school that way?
Take a fucking bus. I don't care. It's fine. Give those kids a bus pass. Listen, this is what I'm thinking. First of all, I trust Phil 400%.
Why not? He's never run a team before. He's 70. You should totally trust him. Go ahead.
Excuse me. I trust Phil 450%.
Zen master.
And I don't know what kind of cynicism you're going to bring into it. When has he failed? I know you're going to be like, in 1972, he was in Utah. It's some fucking fact. But when has he failed? He hasn't failed.
Okay.
Okay, number one. Number two.
Failed in the mid-2000s, but that's all right.
Okay. He was on peyote. Who knows? I don't know. It doesn't matter about that.
Okay.
I trust Phil 450%.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned that Steve Kerr hasn't taken the job, number one. Number two, hey, you know what? He's never coached. That's a problem. But I know Phil knows more than me, so I trust that. But, if you're not going to take the job, bye-bye. Bring in Mark. Bring in Mark.
Mark Jackson.
I want Mark. We want Mark. New Yorkers, if you took a poll of New Yorkers, we want Mark. Bring in Mark.
Really?
We want Mark. He's a New Yorker.
That's the buzz on the Knicks street?
It's not the buzz. It's done. We would I guarantee if you polled New Yorkers today, Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr, we want Mark 150%.
So Steve Kerr won 5 rings.
Cool.
Learned under the school of Greg Popovich, got his master's at Popovich University, got his PhD at Phil Jackson University.
As a coach?
No, but played under both of those guys. Ran a team.
That's
put a ton of thought into. Has appeared on this podcast, I would say 40 times. Is probably one of the smartest basketball guests we've had.
I agree.
Maybe number one.
I love Phil. I love Steve, but what's the problem? It's like I'm showing up at his house with roses. Here, Steve. I'm showing up at his house. We're gonna go to a drive-in movie. We make out. Here, Steve. Next time I bring you chocolates, we're gonna go out and get some ice cream. I take you out for a little sugarfish, some sushi. What's the fucking problem? Are you gonna coach the damn team or not? What's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, either you're in or you're not in. Like, you were under Phil Jackson, so now you're making Phil wait?
Your mentor.
Either you're coaching, and if you want to, isn't he exploring his options with Golden State now?
I think he's just announcing games and taking his time.
Bullshit. He knows what he's doing. He's announced. Do you know something I don't know? I
don't know anything you don't know.
Okay, so listen, the way I see it is, we went for you.
I'm glad that this whole situation required lip balm for you. It's like you're so been out of shape.
No, because it's like I thought he was going to be hired a month ago. Like, what's the holdup? And if you're not going to do it, bring in Mark. This is why. Number one, Mark is a proven coach. And I'm just saying, if Steve comes, I'll be happy with it. But, enough is enough. Number one, Mark is a proven coach. Number two, I think he gets the best out of his players, which is number one importance. Number two.
I saw it. I went to Game 7. And I left that game thinking Mark Jackson should not be fired because I just watched those guys play as hard as they could, not only to win that game, but to save his job, I felt like.
But
and that's all you want as a coach.
From what? Because
they knew
the owner doesn't like him?
Right.
Because Jerry West, Mr. Personality himself, doesn't like him?
Right.
What the fuck is the fucking problem? I mean, Scalabrini, you look like Scalabrini. You're going to...
that's
that whole thing...
Soulmate.
He's my soulmate, and I like Scalabrini, but I don't know what kind of political shit went on over there. Mark Jackson proved himself to be a really good coach. He got the best out of the players. He gives the best pep talks. His pep talks are fucking great, which means a lot. I coach my team, my little YMCA team. We're a travel team. We won the championship last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Pep talks, you have to get the best out of your players.
Right.
Okay? And I got I'm just saying, I think that if Steve Kerr's on the fence, bye-bye. I know Mark might not know the triangle, but he could learn it. He has a basketball mind. I think that him and Phil would get along good. Am I crazy?
I thought Mark Jackson, that must have been a really messed up situation.
Really messed up.
Really messed up for them to say, oh, all our players want you to come back. We're still letting you go. Like Steph Curry, who's underpaid, who only makes $11 million a year when he should be making like 16. He's got 2 years left in his deal. Went out on a limb a little bit for Mark Jackson. Then they're like, hey, Steph, we know what we're doing. Just shut up and we'll send you your check.
Who are you going to get to replace him? They're in deep shit.
That team smells a little Stan Van Gundy-ish to me. Yeah.
Not going to be the same as Mark Jackson. I think that
I like what he said. I agree with you on his pep talks. I wrote a couple weeks ago that I think he studies all the sports movie speeches on YouTube. And he's watching like the Chef and Vision Quest and all these different things. He's like, oh, I'm gonna pull something from the Chef
but
and
it
Vision
works
Quest.
though.
Works.
And I think, it motivates the players, and I feel like he's invested emotionally. So I'm really disappointed.
I feel like he makes me do a bad job with how I'm running Grantland. Because I feel like I should just meetings.
Yeah.
No, at meetings I feel like I should just be like, I just want you guys to know whatever happens this week with our content. I love you guys.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
And
you
I'm
guys
running
fight.
this place, and I'm making all my money for you guys.
Right.
Because Mark said that. He goes, no, but I love what he says. He says, I'm coaching for you guys. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that he's still, the fact that he was a player, he still feels like he's still playing.
Right.
Not that he's taking it too far, but I just think that it's a shock. And, I don't know. Do you know any inside scoop? What was the problem, or what are they saying? Jerry West, he kicked out of practices. Did you see Jerry West in my 30 for 30? He's the logo. He's iconic. He gave me great time for the thing.
I was surprised that you got an interview with him I
was surprised he didn't bite my fucking head off.
I know. He's not the friendliest guy.
But he gave a great interview, and he was totally honest. And some people were like, he was this, he was that. I was like, he just was really – he kept it real. Jerry West kept it real. And he was sort of comes off as the villain in the movie. But, listen – we were walking down the hallway, and I was just, chit-chatting. I was like, this was after Kobe had the Achilles, and he's like, how do you feel about Kobe? I'm not talking about Kobe. I was like, I'm just worried. He's just fucking guy tore his Achilles. I'm just checking in. He's a tough guy.
Well, and then you have the owner who bought the team who, the team starts turning around, and everybody says, oh, Mark Jackson, Mark Jackson, Mark Jackson. He's kind of like,
I'm the owner?
Yeah, I'm the owner.
Yeah, you're the owner.
This all is happening because I bought the team.
Great.
Why isn't anyone talking about me enough?
No one's talking about you. They're going to be talking about you now. What's his name?
Joe Lacob.
Joe Lacob.
More lip balm on the Joe Lacob subject. You got fired up again.
I'm getting dried up off that Joe Lacob. Anyway, so
you vote for Mark Jackson.
I vote for Mark Jackson because Steve Kerr is, he's kind of playing the field. I don't like it. Let me ask you, Bill.
Can I just say as a child of divorce, Phil Jackson, guy who's, I don't know, butted heads with every single person he's ever worked with who wasn't a player.
Like who? Jerry West?
Jerry West. Jerry Krause.
Yes.
The Buss family. Jimmy Buss. Kobe Bryant.
And?
Shaq.
None of these? Okay. Did he butt heads with Shaq?
Yes.
Did they win?
They don't. But I'm just saying, now you're putting with Mark Jackson, who's just coming out of this crazy Golden State situation where we don't even know what happened. But
we don't know what
happened.
happened.
Up that his team fought for him in a Game 7, and they fired him right afterwards.
Without Bogart. Bogart didn't even play.
And Bogut.
Right.
And Bogart.
Yeah.
Bogart didn't play either.
Bogart didn't play either.
Bogut and Bogart didn't play.
Listen, I think that butting heads is good. I think the fact that he's a winner. I have no – listen, Phil has proven himself. I know that in 1974 when he was in Tunisia, he didn't win with some team. You're going to pull some shit out.
The CBA, he had a couple rough years with the Albany Patroons.
Listen, Phil knows what he's doing. If Phil says Steve Kerr, I say Steve Kerr. But if Steve Kerr is going to go around and be a little
wishy-washy.
Cock tease, little bit of a cock tease.
Oh,
little CT. You know what I mean? Like, you know what you're doing, Steve. You're either coming or you're not coming. No pun intended with the cock tease.
Right.
Getting weird. But I'm just saying, if we don't get Steve Kerr and we don't get Mark Jackson,
then you're screwed.
Who do we get?
Then what you don't want is for him to put in like Kurt Rambis or like these Phil Jackson flunky dudes.
No.
I like Kurt Rambis, by the way. I just don't think he should be your coach.
I like Kurt Rambis. It's time to shave the head. And you know what, Kurt Rambis? We don't want you. We need a person. We need a guy.
We want Mark Jackson.
We want Mark Jackson. New York would be happy with Mark Jackson.
Not that this is the reason you would hire somebody, but who would get the biggest ovation of any coach you could introduce for Game 1 of the 2014-15 season? It would be Mark Jackson, right?
I mean, Phil would get the biggest.
Well,
Phil Jackson.
I'm
You know they're
removing
related.
Phil.
But
Come on.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
Rookie of the year.
Okay.
Number 13, St. John's. He's from, come on, man. He's from BK.
All right. So Michael Rapaport votes for Phil Jackson.
No, Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
I go for the Jackson combo, the Jackson 2.
Jackson, and then look at all just the Jackson combo, the Jackson 2. Look at all the sports pages, like the back. We could just go crazy with the
The
Jackson.
speeches would be unbelievable between Phil and Mark. Mark's
Holy
like,
shit.
I'm out of speeches. Can you give one today? Sure, I'll give a speech.
Yeah.
I'll give the Zen Master speech.
Yeah, we'll do
Can you
some
give me
yoga.
some incense?
Oh, man.
Do the lights dim down, do you know? Yeah, he'll do the whole thing.
Trust me, New Yorkers want Mark Jackson. I guarantee you.
Last question, then we have to go.
What?
Carmelo Anthony, do you want him to stay or do you want him to go?
I want him to stay.
Okay.
He has to stay. $30
Okay.
million, number one. There's no guarantees in Chicago. And you know what? If he leaves,
He's a coward?
he will get the same treatment LeBron got when he went back to Cleveland. And he would deserve it because you came here. We love you. I love you. We support you. You're an enormous talent. Yo,
We
can't
defend
leave
you.
us-
You forgot you defend him. Most think that fans defend Carmelo.
I have my ups and downs with Carmelo. He frustrates
he's not
me at
perfect.
times. He's not perfect. But if he leaves, so long. And it ain't going to be pretty when
You're
you
going
come
to
back.
pull a Bieber on him, too.
Yo, well, I wouldn't. But
You tell somebody to.
Anthony Mason, we bring him back. We listen, Carmelo needs to stay. He can't leave us empty-handed like that. It won't be a good look.
Now that Scalabrin's out of the league, I think you should adopt Steven Adams as your new soulmate.
All right.
Because he kind of does some Rapaport
little
stuff
bit.
out there. So he's running out and accidentally elbows people in the head, but
Yeah.
it's never his fault.
Yeah.
And just accidentally shoves people in the back. Kind of a little
like
bit
that.
in your wheelhouse.
What's that guy's name on the Hornets? The guy who
McRoberts?
Yeah. I like that.
You like McRoberts?
See, I like that guy. I like that. Yeah. They're like, why did he give him an intentional foul? Because he's fucking supposed to. What else? Number one, he's got long hair because he's supposed to. And I guarantee you Jordan gave him like a little $50 bill afterwards. Like, good fucking job. Why did he give him an elbow in the throat? What the hell else is he going to do out there? And the next night he shoved him. That's good shit. I have a question.
Okay.
Wait.
We have to go soon, though.
I had a basketball question for you. Oh, fuck.
Who's going to win the title?
Well, is it going to be Miami again?
They're going to make the finals,
No shit.
but I don't know if they're going to win the title.
You think San Antonio could beat them?
The Clippers are officially interesting.
Listen, Chris Paul,
Game 7 and then Game 1. I think that Sterling thing really affected him. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, but you forget how good he is. And he reminded everyone in Game 7 and Game 1.
when are you having the V. Stiviano podcast?
What alias is she going to use for the podcast?
I don't know, but is she going to come in and wear the visor? Like, you should get V. Stiviano in here. That would be fucking epic. And I want to hide under the thing and I'll pop out and scare her. Can we get her? She'll do anything. She'll do this. Just tell her, like, you're just tell her. Like,
right.
we'll put like a couple of $50. V. Stiviano, we want you on here.
The trail of 50s.
Yeah, we'll just put it under the. Come on here.
She'll smell the 50s.
Get her ass up here. Her ass up here. V. Stiviano. I want her to do the V. Stiviano. I guarantee you, if you got the V. Stiviano podcast, it'd be the biggest podcast you ever did.
I don't know if it'd be the top 10.
Yo,
Do people want to see her anymore?
are you crazy? It's like a fucking train wreck. She's shockingly good. She's so bad, she's good.
Yeah, she is.
She's good, and she'll get better.
I like when people have like 6 aliases.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not even one alias. It's like
Different races. She's
Different ones.
Puerto Rican in one. She's Jewish. She's like V. Stiviano Steen. Yo, get her ass up. Jacoby, book her up here. I guarantee you can get her up here. She's in LA. Get her up here.
we might have to give you a podcast.
Let's do it. Let me get V. Stiviano up here.
I'll let you use the studio. You
Yo.
interview V.
That would be, and it's right next to her, where she likes to be. It's like the cradle's right there. She she'll start. It's like Pavlov's.
All right, Mike Rapaport. A pleasure as always. Please come back.
Can I get a
playoffs.
Starbucks with you? You got so
Yeah.
fucking busy. You got thin, and I can't get a fucking
I know.
Starbucks
We're gonna
anymore.
do it. We're doing it.
Shit.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Gotta say, Golick, great call on grabbing Subway for lunch and getting guacamole on our subs.
Told you this new guac really amps up the flavor.
Yep, something adding up things can be great. Guacamole on your sub, a new co-host to replace you.
What was that?
Oh, no, nothing.
Subway now has deliciously rich new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of garlic, onion, and jalapeno. Discover how new guacamole turns up the flavor on any of your freshly made favorites. Subway, eat fresh.